Alright guys, it's Elif here. I see a lack of Resto Shaman content on YouTube. I just don't think it's a very represented class, so I'm going to go over what I believe is the Phase 3 best in slot for Resto Shamans. Alright, so looking at this now, what you'll see jumps off the screen to you is we're still using our Tier 8. Our Tier 8, guys, is absolutely fantastic. For our 4 set, the cast time of chain heal being reduced by 0.2 seconds is equivalent to 400 haste rating, and just having that haste rating is absolutely great. It is not worth losing. It's not worth the stat gain that you would get from the Tier 5 or from the Tier 9 rather. Just to break it down for you, I did the math earlier. What you gain from changing from Tier 8 to Tier 9 is 125 spell power, 0.5% of crit, 47 haste, and 55 MP5 with 5% crit on your chain heal. All those stats together still do not outweigh the 400 haste rating equivalent on your chain heal. So that's why we're still going to be rocking our Tier 8. So let's go down one by one real quick for the rest of our best in slot going into Tier 3. For Phase 3. Alright, so the neck is going to be the Cry of the Valkyr. I believe for Alliance it is a different name, but the Cry of the Valkyr is an absolute beast of a neck piece. It has spell power, crit, and haste, which is our bread and butter. That's what we want on pretty much every piece of gear with the yellow socket for our haste rating gem. But this is going to be a very highly contested piece, guys. If you're not running GDKPs to buy this piece, you are probably not going to be getting this anytime soon. Your casters are going to be clamoring for this. They're going to want this piece. It's a huge piece. So you're going to be in the very back of the line behind all your healers for this if you're not buying it outright in a pug or an organized GDKP. But nevertheless, Charm of Meticulous Timing and Pennant of the Shallow Grave are still two fantastic, very well statted neck pieces for us. If you want to go the MP5 build, go for Charm. If you want more of the crit throughput, go Pennant of the Shallow Grave until you get enough of these Cry of the Valkyr drops where you can snatch one up. So Helm and Shoulder we're still going to be using our Tier 8. For our back, it's an even bigger piece. Athea's Intensity. This is going to be dropping from the Trial of the Grand Crusader 50 chest, guys. So you need to do Trial of the Grand Crusader without a wipe to access these 272 eye level cloaks. They are absolutely busted. That being said, this is in the same vein of Cry of the Valkyr. This is such a well statted item for casters. You are not going to be getting this. There's probably going to be 10 people in front of you for this item, so I would not sweat getting this item anytime soon. A more realistic item is Drape of the Sun Reavers. This is just like Athea's Intensity, except the 10-man version. So hopefully, when you're doing your 10-mans, you should be able to get this after a couple drops. So it might take you a little longer to get this, but that's more of your realistic option. If you can't get your hands on any of these guys, any of these cloaks, which you probably won't, just going to be honest with you, if you're in a structured 25-man, they're probably going to give everything to DPS first, which should be the case. Pennant Cloak is a fantastic option still. I personally am using Pennant Cloak, and I personally expect to use Pennant Cloak until I am deep into ICC, until I can actually get my hands on one of the other cloaks, when all of our DPS have them. But there's no shame in using Pennant Cloak. It has so much spell power, so much crit, so much haste. You throw a haste socket in there, or a haste gem in there rather, you are set. So don't sweat it if you're using Pennant Cloak. I'm probably going to be rocking it for a very long time. Chest piece again is going to be our Tier 8. Going down to our bracers, guys. Bindings of the Winter Gale is still going to be your best in slot. But you do have a couple options if this hard mode drop eludes your guild. Because I know some guilds have hard times getting some items to drop. But it's not a big deal for the bracers, guys, because bracers are a BOE crafted piece for TOC. So you're going to have two options for the BOE pieces: Bejeweled Wizards Bracers and Black Chitin Bracers. The Bejeweled Wizards Bracers are very close to the bindings on the Winter Gale. So if you get one of these, I wouldn't honestly even sweat getting bindings. Bindings are slightly better statted than the Bejeweled Wizard's bracers, but they're so close together, guys, I would not even worry about it. But it is spell power, crit, haste. If you want to go more of the MP5 route, the Black Chit and bracers, forego the critical strike rating and add in the MP5. If you want to go for a more degenerate haste build and gain 7 haste over the other bracers, you can go over the bindings of the Autumn Willow, but you will be fighting some Boomkins and Resto Druids for these. But I personally will still use the bindings on the Winter Gale because it is very well statted and will carry you into ICC. Alright guys, tier 8 gloves, we're still going to be rocking those. For the belt, we're going to have the Star Beaded Clutch from Algalon 25. Guys, this is our best in slot belt. It has a bunch of haste rating on it, which is why we use it. But the belts of Pale Thorns and the belt of Tenebrous Smiths are literally the same belt, just one's cloth is one leather. The only difference between this and the Algalon belt is 12 haste. So if you grab one of those belts, because the Alg belt won't drop for you, it's not a problem. They're almost the exact same belt. Pure haste, just it's really good for throughput. But let's say that can drop for you, or if you feel weird about using spirit gear, that's fine. Belt of the Fallen Worm is still a good pickup for that haste rating critical strike. But another good option, let's say you were the 3rd or 4th healer and all you're there is like for supplemental heals for your raid team, you can go Bindings of the Ice Burrower. This is crit MP5 with 3 sockets. I say 3 because you obviously add the belt enchant to it. This is a great pickup. It doesn't have any haste rating on it, but if you need some sustain in your piece, or in your gear set, this is a good one to pick up. Going down to the legs. The legs are going to be our off piece. We have 2 really good options here, guys. First is going to be Leggings of the Awakened. This is our 100% absolute BiS. Spell power, haste, crit with 3 sockets, guys. These are going to be absolutely cracked. They come from a noob 25 heroic. Your Boomkins obviously are going to get your first crack at these. I don't know if Ellie Shamans use these also. I don't know if they use these or tier, but Ellie Shamans could also possibly want these. Same with Holy Paladins and Resto Druids. So these are going to be pretty highly contested by those couple classes, but don't worry, it's not wanted by every caster because it's not cloth, so we should be good. But in the meantime, there's a male option, but it doesn't have the crit rating on it. It has MP5 instead, but it still has the haste and 3 sockets. These are Leggings of the Concealed Hatred off of Faction Champs. But because this is male MP5 gear, you are pretty much going to have first dibs on these. So when these drop, you can sit on them until it's your turn to get Leggings of the Awakening. I know a lot of people have said that the tier chest is going to be BiS to use right here because it is also spell power, haste, crit, and for you to use the tier 8 leggings. I did the math, guys, and because of the extra socket that Leggings of the Awakening has, you get a little more crit, a little more haste rating using the legs off piece, but you sacrifice I think like 10 or 15 spell power. I'm not concerned about spell power this far into the game, guys. If you're that, you should not be that concerned with spell power anymore. You want to stack haste, haste, haste all the way. So Leggings of the Awakening for your off piece is going to be BiS. For your feet, Sabatons of the Tremoring Earth are going to be your BiS. They are from Faction Champions and 25 Heroic. Spell power, haste, crit, 2 sockets. They are basically a roided up version of Treads of the False Oracle. They are absolutely fantastic. Since they are male, it's just going to be you and the Ellie Shaman going for them. Maybe the Holy Paladin. I haven't looked at the Holy Paladin gear just quite yet. But these should be a pretty easy pickup after your Ellie Shamans have gotten them. Treads of the False Oracle from Yogg 1 should be a very good pickup to hold you over. But I know a lot of casters still need these depending on your Yogg 1 drops, or if your guild has just only recently started killing Yogg 1 to get these. To hold you over, Planewalker's Treads from Alg 25 are a very good substitute. They don't have any haste on them, which is unfortunate. But the spell power, crit, MP5 with the 2 sockets, you can throw haste gems in there and be pretty okay. Technically, Boots of Fire Resolution are better, but good luck getting those, to be honest. They're still heavily wanted by all your casters. Go into your rings, guys. Circle of the Dark Mender. This drops from Lord Jaraxxus, 25 heroic. This is perfectly statted for us. It just has so much haste, so much spell power with the yellow socket to shove our haste gem in there. This is absolutely fantastic. It's a huge piece, huge haste rating. Our second piece is going to be Nebula Band from AUG 10. It has haste, crit, spell power, everything we want with the yellow socket. I know a lot of people will say Starshine Circle from the reply code Alpha is better than Nebula Band, and maybe you are right. I'm not in that camp. I would rather have critical strike rating over the MP5. So the difference is you lose, you lose 1 spell power, 4 haste, and 25 MP5, but you gain 52 crit rating, which is a little over 1%. Personally, I'd rather have the 1% crit for max throughput. So I think Circle of the Dark Mender and Nebula Band are going to be your best in slot for phase 3. But if you can't get your hand on a Circle of the Dark Mender or a Nebula Band, you can buy the normal Circle of the Dark Mender probably week 1 of phase 3. You're going to probably shell out a bunch of gold for this. So if you are one of those guys that just wants an immediate advantage over your peers and other healers, and you're willing to shell out the gold, Circle of the Dark Mender is a very good pickup. All right, guys, on to the biggest piece that we can possibly get out of phase 3, and that is Solace of the Fallen. I believe for Alliance it's called Solace of the Defeated. It's 168 spell power, but the big one is you gain 18 MP5 that stacks up to 8 times. That is 144 MP5, guys. So you can actually pre-stack this before the pull, regen to full mana, and then you'll have 144 MP5 for the entire fight. The reason this is so good, by comparison, Show of Faith, which is the best MP5 trinket that we have access to so far, it gives the equivalent of 65 MP5. Solace of the Fallen gives you double the MP5 on a consistent basis than Show of Faith does. It is absolutely cracked. This should be the top of your priority list. This should be your 100% absolute must-have for phase 3 as soon as possible. The other option that you want to use for your second trinket is the Scale of Fates. Having another haste cooldown for Resto Shamans and for those high burst healing moments where we really shine is a godsend. You can pair this up with NG Gloves to give you nearly 800 haste rating, or you can use NG Gloves, then Scale of Fates to have 30 seconds of averaging out about 400 haste rating. It is absolutely cracked. Do not let your raid leader or someone else tell you that the Scale of Fates is not for a Resto Shaman. It absolutely is. This is our second best in slot throughput trinket for the entire expansion, just behind GTS, which you can't get until Ruby Sanctum. But it is absolutely busted. If you want a second MP5 trinket for certain fights, you can go Show of Faith. Show of Faith again. It's still a very good trinket. It's just overshadowed by Solace come phase 3. So you can get so it comes out to about 65 MP5, guys, and 160 spell power. It's still absolutely juiced. Our new relic for this is Totem of Calming Tides. It gives 234 raw spell power, so it affects all your spells, versus our current Steam Caller's Totem, which only gives 257 spell power just to chain heal. So this gives you 234 extra spell power all your spells, which will overall net you more healing than just on the chain heal. And that is for 25 relics. So that should be your first get as you get the relics, or I'm sorry, the emblems. Going into weapons, Valinir, 100% BiS. It's going to be your best in slot until the end of the game. Some people say Trauma is going to be BiS and ICC. We'll see. I'll have to do more math on that and see how it actually procs. But I think it's going to be Valinir. If you are third or fourth in line in Valinir and currently do not have one, or you're not currently collecting shards, Suffering's End is going to be your best in slot. It drops from a noob 25 heroic. You're probably going to run into a situation like the Torch of Holy Fire in Naxxramas, where this is probably going to be Eli Shaman, Boomkin, Priest, Prio to pump out your DPS, which I agree with. Your DPS should be absolutely pumping on the boss. So you'll probably be pretty low priority for this. Same thing with the Sun Reaver's Disciple Blade. That comes from the faction champs. You're going to be pretty low on this, I believe, but it's still a very good pickup if you can get it. I think the easiest one for you to probably pick up in Phase 3, the first, is going to be a Heart Smasher. This comes from Tin Man Anub. I think this will hold you over until you can either get a Valinir or a Suffering's End or Sun Reaver Disciple's Blade. So yeah, those are your options. If you keep going down, you just get down to a Constellus, and at that point, you're probably rocking a Constellus or an Asuga here. Anyway, lastly is going to be the Bastion of Resolve for your shield. It is basically just a souped-up Wisdom's Hold, guys. It's just the stats are increased on Wisdom's Hold, and that's it. It comes from faction champs, 25 heroic. Yeah, if you can't get a hold of this, which realistically only 3 people use them, you, Holy Paladins, Eli Shamans, Wisdom's Hold or Ice Layered Barrier will hold you over for that time. Yeah, this should be a pretty quick pickup as well, because only a few people actually use spell power shields. So this is going to be your best in slot, guys, for Phase 3. If you have any questions, you can always message me on Discord or on YouTube. Or if you have any questions, obviously my in-game name is L of Chains. I play on White Main, so if you have any questions, you can also send me in-game mail. I know a few people have done that already, and I always message back as soon as I can. But yeah, I hope you all have a good day, and if you have any questions, just please let me know.